Does anybody have an idea of what NFL teams are actually good or not? Now, this NFL year has been very confusing, and that's a great thing because that means there's parity in the NFL. That means there's a lot of teams that are competitive. There's a lot of teams that are going to be competing for a playoff spot. That means by week 18, there's going to be a bunch of people whose feelings are crushed because their teams got eliminated from the playoff. And now, with that being said, I got all the teams I consider elite so far in the NFL season, and I'm going to compare them and see if they're elite or if they are fraudulent. And almost all the elite teams are like 7-2, 6-2, have one loss on their schedule that's absolutely baffling, or they've had a cakewalk easy schedule. New England. With that being said, let's get into this video. We're going to be starting off with the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Chiefs. That's basically their regular season Super Bowl because we know once they get in the playoffs, they're going to choke again. Anywho, that's not the point because this is not a Bills hating video. Because I do believe Buffalo Bills are one of the 5 elite teams in the NFL. Because week 1 against a healthy Baltimore Ravens team, the only time the Baltimore Ravens were really healthy, they beat a good Ravens team 40-41. Josh Allen played amazing. The offense played amazing. And they came up big for the first game of the season. Then they played the Jets, and the Jets are the Jets. What can I say? The Jets are below 500 this year, and also shit is brown. So of course they beat them 30-10 and dominated that game. The next week they have the Dolphins, and the Dolphins suck. Mainly because their quarterback's literally 5 seconds away from having a brain aneurysm anytime he steps on a football field. And also mainly because their coach is a 2010s vape lord. But like, actually, does this nigga not look like he would play devil's advocate in like history class? But yes, the Bills did beat the Dolphins 31-21, pretty dominant victory. Josh Allen played good once again. Then they played the Saints, and the Saints are ass. If ass crack hairs were a team, it would be the New Orleans Saints. But anywho, the Bills dominated them 19-31, another good game by Josh Allen, so that's an easy win on their schedule. So far, through the first 4 games I listed, they played 4 teams that are below 500 and aren't on track to making the playoffs. But 4-0, what can I say? Then they play the Patriots.
For the lead. Right down the middle, Borregales nails it. And the Patriots take the lead with 15 seconds remaining.
And they lose 23-20, and Drake May diced up that Buffalo defense. So against teams with winning record this year, so far through these 5 games I listed, they're 0-1. So after 4 weeks, you think they're such a good team, they look like they're going to be the best team in the AFC. And then the week after that, they lose to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are actually dog water though. The Falcons lost to the JV 49ers this year. The Falcons just lost 34-10 to the Miami Dolphins, and their quarterback's last name rhymes with peanut. Overall, the Atlanta Falcons are a terrible team, and they won against the Buffalo Bills by 2 scores to make them 4-2. Then the Buffalo Bills played the Panthers. The Panthers blew out the Falcons 30-0. But for some reason, the Bills blew out the Panthers 40-9. And then last week, they played the Chiefs where they won 28-21 in a great game. It really just doesn't make sense how the Bills are 6-2 considering their 2 losses are actually almost special ed how they lost. No offense to special ed people. Y'all are cool. Keep sipping Capri Sun. And next week, they have the Dolphins. Don't lose to the Dolphins, or this will make me question everything I possibly know. So yes, while the Buffalo Bills are a great team this year, 4 of their 6 wins so far this year come from sub 500 NFL teams. The next team on this list is the Colts. Colts week 1 beat a Dolphins team that is miserable 33-8. The next week they'd beat the Broncos 29-28, and the Broncos are a playoff team. That's a very good team to beat. And the Broncos are actually on a roll right now, probably with one of the best defenses in the league. Hell, one of the best defenses of the 2020s. I'll go ahead and say it. This defense is insanely stacked. And then the next week they beat the terrible, miserable, awful, smelly, ugly, fat Tennessee Titans 41-20. A game they should win and should win by 3 scores. Next week, they lose in a close one against the Rams. The Rams are a playoff team. They'll definitely make the playoffs, and they're one of the best offenses in the league right now. The week after that, they beat the Raiders 40-6, a sub-500 team. And then the next week, they beat the Cardinals 31-27, another sub-500 team. Next week, they beat the Chargers, probably a playoff team, 38-24. The Chargers are a good team, good offense. Week after that, they play the Titans again, 38-14. And then last week, they lost to the Steelers 27-20, but the Steelers are a playoff team. Their schedule isn't my point here. Their wins aren't my point here. It's Daniel Jones. I know what I saw when he played for New York. I saw the utter bullshit he committed while he was in New York. And you cannot convince me in a year span, you can go from Daniel Jones to an MVP candidate. I am so sorry. It wasn't even like Sam Darnold showed flashes of being a number 3 overall pick, or you could see the talent when he played. Daniel Jones was fucking miserable in New York. The turnovers, the faces he would make, the fumbles, him tripping over the turf monster. It's insane. I'm sorry. the Colts are screaming divisional round exit. If the Colts get a first round bye, I can almost guarantee they're not making the conference championship. They're going to either have to play the Chiefs in the divisional round, or they're going to have to play the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. And I don't see them winning against either of those teams. This might sound like hating, because it is. The Daniel Jones demon will show up at the worst moment this year. Trust me, I'll put my life, I'll put your kid on this. So are the Colts legit? I don't know. I'm really leaning towards no more than I am with the Buffalo Bills, if I'm being quite honest. Next up, we got the Eagles. Now, the thing about the Eagles is, I do think they're kind of legit. One, because, of course, they're the defending Super Bowl champions, but also this year they had a tough schedule, and they've already beat 4 playoff teams. They beat the Chiefs 20-17 in week 2. They beat the Rams the next week 33-26. They beat the Buccaneers 31-25. I really just think they're legit. This might be the only team that I can confidently say this team is an elite football team. They'd be number 1 on my power rankings. With that being said, they do have a stupid loss against the New York Giants. They lost 34-17. They lost by 3 scores to the New York Giants. That doesn't make sense, but either than that, they played pretty good this year, and the teams they beat are pretty good, and they haven't had a cupcake schedule. This offense and defense is firing on all cylinders. Expect them back in the conference championship game, or even maybe the Super Bowl. Next, we got the Denver Broncos. Now, the thing about the Denver Broncos is all of their wins are from sub 500 teams that will not make the playoffs. Week 1, 20-12 win against the Tennessee Titans. Week 4, 28-3 win against the Cincinnati Bengals. I did forget about this. They did beat the Eagles 21-17. That's a quality win. I'll give y'all that, Denver. But the week after that, they beat the Jets 13-11. Then they beat the Giants 33-32. Then they beat the Cowboys 44-24. And then last week, they beat the Texans 18-15. The thing is, against these non-playoff teams, they beat the Jets by 2 points. They beat the Giants by 3 points. Beat the Texans by only 3 points. They beat the Cowboys by 20 points. But against these bad teams are hanging with them. Now, this might just be me looking for something, but personally, playing these bad teams a little too close. And majority of their wins are from a cakewalk, easy schedule so far this year. The second half of the season gets a little bit more competitive. But the Broncos are sitting at 7-2, number 1 in the AFC West, but 5 of their wins are against sub 500 football teams. Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams. This team's sitting second in the NFC West, 6 wins, 2 losses. In week 1, they beat the Texans, a sub 500 team. The next week, they would beat the Tennessee Titans 33-19, a abhorrent, terrible, ugly, fat, stinky, bow-legged team. And then they would lose to the Eagles 26-33. They would beat the Colts in a quality win 27-20. And then they would lose to the absolute crippled San Francisco 49ers. And not to mention, this was their JV team the Niners had, 26-23. They lost to Mac Jones. And then the next week, they would beat the Ravens 17-3. The Ravens were also completely decimated. Then they would beat the Jaguars 35-7. Then they would beat the Saints 34-10. 4 of their wins come from sub 500 teams. But with that being said, they do have quality wins against the Jaguars. They do have a quality win against the Colts. And they did take on the Eagles pretty well. I'm not willing to say this team's fraudulent in any way, but I am going to say I'm not sure if I'd call them elite yet. Just because they have had a pretty easy schedule and they dropped that 49ers game, which has no excuse. That team was absolutely decimated and has been decimated all year, and they were the better team. That's a divisional rival as well. But if you ask me, are the Rams elite this year or bad? I'm leaning more towards elite. Then we got the Seattle Seahawks. Fuck the Seahawks. I'm an Irons fan. The Seahawks can go fucking die. Seattle Seahawks. So week 1, they did lose to my San Francisco 49ers in my favorite game of the year. I love seeing the Seahawks lose to the Niners 17-13. The next week after that, they would dominate the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a quality win because the Steelers will be a playoff team 31-17. The week after that, they dominated the terrible Saints team 13-44. Dominated a bad Cardinals team 23-20. Lost to the Buccaneers 38-35. The Buccaneers are one of the best teams in the NFC, so this isn't a terrible loss, and they took it down to the wire, only losing by a field goal. Then they'd have another quality win against the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-12. Then they'd beat the Texans 19-27. Texans are terrible this year, like no joke. Their record is way better than it should be. And last week they would beat the Commanders 38-14. They beat 4 sub 500 teams, but if I was being honest with you, if I took my bias out of this shit, bro, the Seahawks look good, bro. The Seahawks are a good team. The Rams and Seahawks are almost on the same level, and that's my 2 least favorite teams in my conference. No one cares about the Cardinals. Like, no one claims he has rivals. So if you ask me, are they bad or pushing towards elite? They're pushing closer to elite than bad. But at the same time, fuck the Seahawks. Fuck Richard Sherman's speech. Fuck Colin Kaepernick for throwing this into double coverage. And now the last and final team is the New England Patriots. And what I'd like to say about the Patriots is, fuck no, they got an FCS schedule. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck Tom Brady. Fuck Bill Belichick. I don't like this franchise. You guys got caught cheating twice, and now your fans are pushing the narrative that Mahomes uses the refs and Brady just dominated the game at a higher level than him. Hashtag Swiss cheese a Patriots fan today. If we're talking about cupcake schedules, the Patriots Patriots have a cupcake schedule. They have some quality wins, but holy shit, it's EDP because how much cupcakes you want. Week 1, y'all literally lost to the Raiders 20-13. Week 2, you barely beat the Miami Dolphins 33-27. Week 3, you lose against the Steelers 21-14. Week 4, you dominate the Panthers 13-42. And then you guys do beat the Buffalo Bills 23-20. The next week, you beat the Saints 25-19. Next week, you beat the Titans 31-13. Next week, you beat the Browns 32-13. Next week, you beat the Falcons 24-23. Those are 4 straight sub 500 teams. And not to mention the Dolphins that you guys beat up on earlier this year. Would be 5 of your 7 wins are against sub 500 non-playoff teams that are fucking booty butt ass. The Patriots aren't legit. Patriots fans suck. I hope I don't see you guys in a single Super Bowl for the rest of my lifespan, if I'm being honest. So that's going to be the end of this video, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all boys later. Thank you for the support. Peace.